Back again for another video. On today's topic, we'll be talking about strengths and weaknesses. Yes. So, I'm going to talk about this in regards to men and women. I'm going to frame this in such a way, hopefully it's easy to understand. All right. So, when it comes to this world, we all understand that there are things that we are all vulnerable to, and there are things that we are not vulnerable to. For instance, we're not vulnerable from, I don't know, a star blowing up, 34 million light years away. That's something that we're not vulnerable to at this time, but we are vulnerable to everyday life existence, everything that comes with that. But even still, there are things that we can do to make ourselves less vulnerable to everyday life. And the way I look at it is a man being able to look within themselves to find the ability to bring without the things that are necessary to create a structure that is less vulnerable than what he may exist in already. And for women are made to support and maintain this structure as well. But that's kind of where we get our strengths and weaknesses from. A woman's strength is weakness. The strength is of course being supportive. A lot of people may disagree with that a woman's best strength is being supportive, but I mean, let's really look at it. Once again, if you look at her nature is the caretaking of oneself first. It's vanity, the base level, right? The existence of a woman is to preserve self, right? Whereas the existence of a man is to preserve everything outside of self. Though, of course, as we see now, those aren't necessarily the tenets to either one of them in regards to how they operate. But this is a dysfunctional state of existence that we live in currently. So you can't necessarily expect to see everything representative of exactly what I'm saying. But there are things that, how can I put it, that stem from that, but has been perverted and hijacked by mainstream society, media, etc., drugs, whatever you want to call it. So these things are exploited, right? But when it comes to a man and his ability to garner against his weaknesses by improving his strengths, this is all done by discipline. All this stuff is done by discipline. I know I talk about discipline a lot on my channel because it's a cornerstone for any type of success, any type of way of living. It's very necessary. Any type of way of living in regards to accomplishment, that is. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't call a crackhead necessarily a successful existence. So, but you guys know what I mean. When it comes to discipline gives you the ability to create. The problem that we have with discipline, the nature that we have with discipline right now, the relationship that we have with discipline rather, is not a good relationship for a lot of people. Once again, I talk about all these things on my channel, but if you really listen, I am just saying simply that there's no discipline within this structure, existence, way of doing things, way of seeing life, whatever the case may be. That's usually everything that's lacking, because that's what makes it weak and vulnerable all at the same time. No discipline. Now, people's versions of discipline are very, very, very different. But men, we go out and we seek things that challenge us because it gives us the ability to practice our discipline, because the more challenging it is, the more disciplined you have to be. Now, for women are more vulnerable in that way in which that men go out and seek things to challenge them. Meaning that, of course there are UFC fighters, but I mean, they have a male division and a female division for a reason. Men take on many challenges, no matter who it is, how tall, big, small, fat, short, wide, whatever, how much money, whatever, we still will challenge you. Whereas women are more cautious about those things because, remember, they operate in a vanity, self-preservation state, which is nothing wrong with that. That's just the way things are. It's not either a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the way things are. But when it comes to men, we operate completely different from women in a way that we are going about correcting our weaknesses or covering our weaknesses. For women, geez, that is a long conversation. That is a real long conversation. Because the video that I put out yesterday in regards to the spiritual toxoplasmosis, that's essentially how I see most women modern. They are infected with something that seeks to be very bravado, very masculine, very limited in inhibition, very forthcoming with dysfunctions, right? But this leaves you in a very vulnerable state, just like those mice. I know you've seen the video. If you haven't, watch it definitely, because even if you just watch that part and not necessarily listen, because that's exactly how I see most of the women. At a lot of the things that you guys take on and you guys decide to be challenged by are literally causing your deaths, in my opinion. That's the way I see it. Especially among the BWs. Heart disease is a huge thing, and a lot of it comes from stress. There's no way that black women should have the same level of rates of heart disease deaths as men. There's no way. There's no way that should be the case. But since you all want to be put in a position where you are the mouse attacking the cat, trying to get this dysfunction to be digested by the male, in this instance the cat, so that it can be multiplied through him and everything that he creates, even including his children, you are killing yourself in the process. I don't know if you see it, but I definitely see it. Your weaknesses have been exploited by a parasite, and that is the parasite of white supremacy, in my opinion. That's not to say that any men are not affected by it, but once again, we are men who challenge. Women nest in this environment. Once again, women nest in this environment. Men do not. We seek to challenge the status quo all the time, especially when it doesn't align with us getting what exactly we want out of it. And we clearly see that being the king of the dunghill isn't something that we aspire to be. No matter how it comes out the other end, albeit that a lot of men are center focused on success because they are doing it to garner women's attention, this is still through the lens of challenging. They do it to enhance themselves, regardless of what the situation is. This is the nature of a man. It doesn't change no matter what his goal is. Unfortunately, I wish it would. That would be nice. Then we can definitely separate the men from the boys. But once again, it is what it is. But nonetheless, when it comes to women, in regards to their weaknesses, like I said, you guys are showing your hand. The way that you're approaching this is, to me, incorrect, because a lot of you are doing things that you should not be doing. You are engaging in lifestyles that you should not be engaged in. The diesel culture is a thing. This is, once again, you putting yourself in the crosshairs of danger, because a lot of the dangers that you all think that you can see, you can't. This is the reason why there's this always this backdrop of desire to have a man present. It's never in the forefront, because women aren't concerned about when their water goes off until it goes off. They're wondering Where was the man who dropped the ball on this? This is the reason why men always get blamed for everything, is because they expect that men are going to cover them regardless of what the circumstances are. But you constantly, as a woman, put yourself into harm's way. And we're just supposed to step in front of this every single time. What happens when that structure, that infrastructure of male bodies does not cover you anymore? You're going to still behaving in such a way that will end you very quickly in the way of your own demise, the things that you do. I mean, unfortunate that that's the way things are, but how else can I put it? I mean, look at our society, look at our culture, look at where we came from, look at what we've been doing. You know, if there is no more indication of that you should change the way that you do things, the way that you see things, I might as well be talking to a brick wall, I guess. But anyways, the vulnerabilities and the weaknesses, these things are once again buffered by discipline. Because think about it, man. Think about it like this. So let's say that because we see it all the time, you know, simps, they have a weakness for vagina. They got a weakness for it, right? If they would discipline themselves, they would no longer be weak to those things, right? They would no longer be in the clutches of women, right? They would no longer be manipulated by women or be able to have a battery put in their back to say, go down the road, do X, Y, and Z. They wouldn't care about that because their discipline would protect them. I like to look at them. I call my discipline and my principle my guard dogs. That's what I call them, because they are the ones who ward against all these things before they even get to me to have to logically go through them. You know, they're the ones who stiff them up and make sure that everything's all good before they even get to talk to me. You have to get through my level of discipline, and you have to get through my level of principality in order to actually talk to me. These are my filtering systems, and I think many men could benefit from this, because literally everything that you don't have discipline over, you might as well consider it a weakness, period. I mean, because the word exploit is what it is because it means that it can exploit, right? It doesn't say exploit minus these group of things. No, the word exploit can apply to anything. So therefore, if you are not disciplined behind the things that you obviously have weaknesses as a result of not being disciplined, then they can be exploited. I mean, literally look at everything that has ever happened to you in this world, good or bad, especially you women. Everything that has ever happened to you, I guarantee was a result. And I'm talking about adulthood. And I'm also, let me clarify. Talking about adulthood and non-accidental, non-victimization existence. Because there are things like, for instance, just because you get in a car accident has nothing necessarily to do with how disciplined you are as a driver. I mean, the person who hit you could have been a complete idiot, right? So there's that. So I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the things in which that you created the momentum for. For instance, smoking. You know, we know these things will end you. We know that lung cancer is a problem, but yet everyone's talking about the jab, right? While they're smoking a cigarette. I don't understand it. You know, I get the sentiment, but literally, if you're going to contemplate how certain things should be in the way of your own safety, you need to do this with everything and not make excuses for it. You need to watch your health. You need to exercise. You need to eat properly. At least try, I guess. You know, you need to do these things, because if you do not get a hold of these things, I like to say that anything that is a problem in your life, and it is something that you cannot get over or maintain or fix, it's going to cause your demise in some way, shape, or form. Literally anything. If you're a heavy drinker, it's going to aid in your demise. Whether it be through accidents, whether it be through what is it called, chlorosis of the liver, right? It doesn't matter. Sclerosis. I always forget how to say that word. Jeez. It's going to aid in. I mean, even if you, drink lightly, you like to go out and party on the weekends. You don't drink during the week, but you know that this is a problem for you because you take it too far. Even if you do call an Uber, even if you can mitigate your liver going bad, who's to say that you're not going to get into a fight and you're going to be injured so badly? Or who's to say that you're not going to suffer from alcohol poisoning just drinking on the weekend, right? These things are realistic things, but everything that we have as a weakness is literally our vulnerability. And how we guard against that, men and women I'm speaking to, how we guard against that is that we practice discipline in those areas that we know that we are weak in, so that we can ward against our own vulnerabilities. There are some things that I said that are just, that's just the way of life. For instance, if you catch the flu. But the thing of it is, if you're a more healthier person, you have a better chance of beating this, right? Everything revolves around you doing what you know you're supposed to be doing in the way of your own survival, in the way of the quality of life that you have. It's representative by the level of discipline or either luck that you have on your side. And me personally, I don't like rolling the dice. No, not me personally. I like to know what's coming around the corner and what my possibilities are. There are some things that I'm just willing to accept as the way they are, but there are some things that I'm not. For all the people that complain about the conditions of their lives, you're literally the author of it. You're literally the person who says what goes in that book and what doesn't. And if you want to be, no longer weak to these things that you keep writing in the book that you don't agree with, practice some discipline. I know that sounds so easy. Just go ahead and just discipline yourself. You'll be fine. I know it's hard because I live that life. There are plenty of times where I don't want to do things. I practice a different type of discipline, but I'm talking about when it comes down to the wire, because I practice a certain type of discipline that is a little bit more advanced, and the cognitive ability and the metaphysical understanding of the discipline, right, that I'm going through. Maybe I'll make a video about that, because my level of discipline is almost reverse psychology for myself. And it may sound weird. Once again, like I said, I practice a different type, right? But nonetheless, anyways, if you practice the discipline, you can only expect, not even just hope, you can only expect that you will increase your ability to ward against things, no matter what it is. Like if you work out regularly, you can already assume that if you got into a car accident, you're more likely to survive. If you got into a fight, you're more likely to win. Not necessarily, of course it's based on skill, but what I'm saying is you're more likely to win than if you were not working out. Practicing these disciplinary things come to your benefit. They come to your aid when you need them. A lot of people, like I said, we, especially as men, do not need to lean on society so much that we become lazy, that we become non-innovative, that we are always reliant. We don't need to become comfortable like that. We need to always push ourselves and challenge ourselves to be something that we are not currently. And this comes by way, again, by discipline. But anyways, I don't want to, I feel like I have to do these videos every once in a while, maybe like once a month or something like that, because I really want y'all to understand exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm coming from, because there are things that I've even practiced with discipline myself because I've had to. There are things that I practice with discipline just to practice it. Like, for instance, like if I'm hungry and I know that I've eaten, a decent amount of food for the day, I'll just forego food. I'll drink water, but I'll just forego food. No reason, nothing going on, just to practice it. For instance, if I want to, do anything, I'll put it off. just because I want to do it, I'll put it off. Even if I know that it's something that is necessary and that may be time sensitive, but it's nothing that's seriously important, right? I don't play with those things, those things I'm really on it. But anything else, if it's not high priority and I know I really want to do it, for instance, like, just playing video games or something like that, I'll just not play it, even though I have a high desire to play video games or, shoot the shit with my friends or something like that. I won't do it just to practice the discipline. I'll take opportunities at any time that I can to practice denial, to practice delayed gratification, to practice these things, because there's going to be a time in my life, and I have experienced this already, especially with being in the military, but I'm sure it's going to happen again. There's going to be a time in my life that I'm going to wish that I had practiced denying myself. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. I have not uploaded anything on either one of those, but I'm gathering everything. I'm moving everything to a new hard drive system, whatever. So it takes some time because I have a lot of videos, right? And I have to sort through them and, do all this other stuff, the logistics, my favorite word, right? But anyways, like I said, like, comment, and share. Those two things. Yep. But anyways, practice that discipline, man. Make sure you on it, because it probably will save your life one day. But until next time, this has been the Wolf and Beta Close. May you have a good day. And of course, peace be with you.